Namaste friends, I am Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Global Convener United Consciousness. Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change that you want to see in the world. World has always seen two forces. Forces which unite us together and forces which divide us. And there has been two approaches towards these forces. Either criticizing what is wrong or contributing in establishing what is right. United Consciousness is a global initiative of Project Self to contribute and establish divine beyond divides with a mission of one consciousness, one being, because it is the same blood that flows in all. It is the same water that nourishes us. It is the same air that enriches us. It is the same earth that holds us. Same space envelops us. When a tiny virus doesn't discriminate between us, let's not let any mental virus divide us. Let's not discuss what happens before birth or what will happen after death. Let's focus on what happens after birth and what should happen before death. How should I live and lead in accord with my true nature? Maharshi Patanjali has established a divine scripture called Yoga Sutram, which talks about me identifying my own true nature, the philosophy of oneness, philosophy of union, uniting mind, body and soul, uniting me, you and all. Because when there is chaos inside, certainly there will be conflict outside. When there will be peace inside, there will be prosperity outside. Yoga Sutra establishes a grand model of 8 steps towards an ideal world. First step being yama, restraints, purifying my external behavior towards others and fellow beings, creating an ethically high society. Second, observations, niyamas, purifying my internal behavior, my understanding towards myself, making me an elevated individual. Then asanas, making a physically fit world with a purified body, a world with no disease. Pranayama, breath regulation, leads to purification of breath and regulation of mind. Pratyahara, sense control, leads to purification of sense and a non-distracted mind. Dharana, concentration, ability to focus on any object at my own will, leads to purification of mind and a focused mind. A regulated, non-distracted, focused mind certainly assures high quality of life. Then dhyana, meditation, ability to focus deep and long, leads to purification of I-ness, leads to culminates into fixing mind on my true purpose of life. And finally samadhi, absorption, purifying self and absorbed in my own purpose of life, reaching the goal of life. Yoga envisages a world where I am individually elevated with niyamas. We establish an ethically rooted society in yamas, physically healthy society with asanas, mentally peaceful world with pranayam and pratyahara, spiritually elevated world with dharana and dhyana, and enlightened being with samadhi. Then only there will be Ram Rajya established. Kingdom of heaven will be established, and that will be a real promised land. So dear friends, United Consciousness invites all of you together between 18th to 26th of June to contribute and witness one of the world's most diversified yoga event, International Yoga Week celebration. Sit back and witness one of the grand masters of yoga philosophy, life coaches, dancers, practitioners, meditators coming together on a common platform from more than 120 countries of the world to contribute in establishing divine beyond divides. So sit back, relax and enjoy and witness and get benefited by this grand event. I would like to extend my thanks to European Yoga Federation, AAYT Australia, Yogismo International South America, Project Self Incorporation USA, Spiritual Council in Africa, Siddhashram, Yoga Vidya Germany, Yogalam, World Movement for Ayurveda and Yoga for having contributed in this event. Thank you very much.
Connect, bringing together European yoga teachers and establishing delegates and representatives for each country, considering the social differences in various countries and support the needs, equality regardless of gender, origin, sexual orientation, social class and religion, overcoming dogmatism, fundamentalism to promote universal understanding.
Bye.
Promote, encouraging a yogic lifestyle and a holistic approach to life as a tool for physical and mental wellness, a more spiritually elevated, peaceful, happy and physically fit society.
Integrate and unify, integrating science and the art of yogic living, modern knowledges with ancient wisdoms for betterment of the world and global development. Recognizing, accepting and integrating the many different paths that lead to the same final goal, making sure that yoga will maintain its original purpose. Namaste.
Provide study of secular knowledge, philosophy and ancient text, Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutra and Veda. Study of techniques, modern developments in teaching techniques, incorporating scientific findings in medicine, psychology, etc. to guarantee a certain standard, an established graduation system to provide a minimum standard for yoga teachers training.
The Bhagavad Gita says, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. Today, we are fortunate to welcome Swami Suryananda Saraswati Ji from Italy. He is the creator and founder of the World Yoga and Ayurvedic Community, President of World Movement for Yoga and Ayurveda of the European Yoga Federation and the C.Y. Surya International School of Yoga and Ayurveda, Vice President of the International Yoga Federation of New Delhi, and a founding member of the European Ayurveda Association. He has been practicing and teaching yoga for 52 years. He has held courses in Italy, India, Greece, France, Spain, Switzerland, and many other countries. The result of years of experience gained in close contact with Indian psychophysical reality, with luminaries of Ayurvedic medical sciences and Eastern monks, and is often present in major congress as a speaker. He authored many books dedicated to yoga and Ayurveda. Kofi Annan has rightly said, "We may have different religions, different languages, different colored skins, but we all belong to one human race." So now let's welcome Swami Suryananda Saraswati Ji.
Buongiorno, namaste to all, one time more.
Hello to everybody. I welcome you.
So my talk today is Pratyahara.
Today I will speak about Pratyahara.
Il Pratyahara è il quinto gradino dell'Ashtanga Yoga di Patanjali.
Pratyahara is the fifth step of Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga.
Il termine letteralmente vuol dire astrazione, riassorbimento o dissoluzione del mondo, tirarsi indietro, ritirarsi, eccetera.
The term literally means abstraction, reabsorption, or dissolution of the world, pulling back, retreating, etc., etc.
Esso, tuttavia, ce l'ha anche un altro significato essendo costituito da due parole.
It, however, also conceals another meaning being made up of two words.
Pratia, pratiati, che significa retrocedere, e ahara, prendere cibo. Pertanto, vuole anche dire astenersi dal prendere cibo, facendo riferimento in questo caso a quel tipo di alimentazione che assumiamo attraverso i sensi.
Pratya, pratyati, which means to retreat, and ahara, to take food. Therefore, it also means to refrain from taking food, referring in this case to the kind of food we take in through the senses.
Il pratyahara corrisponde nella moderna psicologia alla condizione di introversione.
In modern psychology, pratyahara corresponds to the condition of introversion.
Per lo yoga invece esso equivale al ritiro dei sensi dalla loro normale funzione volta verso l'esterno.
For yoga, on the other hand, it amounts to the withdrawal of the senses from their normal outward turning function.
È attraverso questa limitazione che si può condurre la mente a divenire meno sensibile nei confronti delle impressioni che provengono dall'esterno.
It is through this limitation that one can lead the mind to become less sensitive to impressions coming from outside.
Che non significa rifiutare l'oggetto dei sensi, ma semplicemente sperimentare una diversa condizione nello stato di percezione.
Which does not mean rejecting the object of the senses, but simply experiencing a different condition in the state of perception.
Il principale obiettivo di questa pratica è quello di portare l'attività sensoriale della mente sotto il dominio del sé.
The main goal of this practice is to bring sensory and mind activity under control on the domain of the self.
La propedeutica è costituita da tecniche che, promuovendo l'introspezione, portano il praticante a sperimentare il distacco dalle impressioni provenienti dall'esterno.
The propedeutic consists of techniques that, by promoting introspection, lead the practitioner to experience detachment from impressions from outside.
Ma anche da quelle che già albergano nella mente.
But also from those which are already dwelling in his or her mind.
Ci sono almeno 4 forme di controllo del pratyahara.
There are at least 4 forms of control in pratyahara.
Il controllo del respiro e dell'energia vitale.
The control of the breath and the life energy.
Il controllo dei sensi.
The control of the senses.
Il controllo delle azioni.
The control of the actions.
Il controllo della mente.
The control of the mind.
Ogni sezione ha i suoi peculiari esercizi.
Each section has its own peculiar exercises.
Tuttavia, la prima più semplice e doverosa pratica che consiglio potrebbe essere:
However, the first, simplest, and most dutiful practice which I recommend might be:
dal momento che siamo sottoposti a un'ipersollecitazione di informazioni e sensazioni provenienti dall'esterno,
since we are subjected to hypersolicitation of information and sensations from outside,
che avviene attraverso vari mezzi di comunicazione come radio, televisione, internet, pubblicità varie, eccetera,
which comes through various media such as radio, television, internet, various advertisement, etc.
consiglio di astenersi periodicamente dal consumare quel tipo di cibo e praticare il silenzio. Antarmauna.
Periodically refrain from consuming such food and practice silence, antarmona.
Le condizioni di partenza per l'esercizio del pratyahara e i livelli che possiamo ottenere con l'esercizio sono:
The starting conditions for pratyahara practice and the levels we can achieve through practice are
Kshipta, mente distratta o assente;
kshipta, distracted or absent mind;
Muda, mente confusa;
mudha, confused mind;
Vikshipta, mente a volte raccolta;
vikshipta, mind sometimes collected;
Ekagrata, mente univocamente concentrata;
ekagrata, mind uniquely focused;
Niruddha, mente sotto controllo senza vritti;
niruddha, mind under control without vritti.
Ostacoli al raggiungimento del pratyahara sono anche i klesha, le afflizioni.
Obstacles to the attainment of pratyahara are also klesha, afflictions.
La vidya, ignoranza o non conoscenza, il confondere il sé con il non sé.
Avidya, ignorance or non-knowledge, confusing the self with the non-self.
La smita, l'egoismo, l'identificazione con gli strumenti della mente e del corpo, l'identificazione anche del purusha con il citta.
Asmita, selfishness, identification with the tools of the mind and body, identification of even the purush with the chitta.
Raga, desiderio, l'attrazione basata assai sul ricordo del piacere.
Raga, desire, attraction based on remembrance of pleasure.
Vesha, l'avversione, la ripulsione, specialmente per le cose spiacevoli, il ricordo del dolore, la paura, il timore di soffrire.
Dvesha, aversion, repulsion, especially for unpleasant things, remembrance of pain, fear of suffering.
E la binivesha, partecipazione spasmodica all'esistenza, attaccamento alla vita, paura di morire.
And abhinivesha, spasmodic participation in existence, attachment to life, and fear of dying.
A questi si devono aggiungere sempre, secondo Patanjali, come elementi disturbanti, i citta vikshepa.
To these must be added, again according to Patanjali, as disturbing elements like chitta vikshepa,
che impediscono alla mente di concentrarsi e per conseguenza di sviluppare le necessarie qualità distintive.
which prevent the mind from concentrating and consequently from developing the necessary distinctive qualities. And they are
Vyadhi, malattia, alterazione e degenerazione dell'equilibrio fisico.
Vyadhi, disease, alteration, and degeneration of physical balance.
Stiana, apatia, debolezza, indifferenza dello spirito.
Sthana, apathy, weakness, indifference of spirit.
Samasya, dubbio, indecisione, condizione di titubanza della mente.
Samasya, doubt, indecision, hesitant condition of the mind.
Pramada, negligenza, disattenzione, disinteresse per i propri doveri.
Pramada, negligence, carelessness, disregard for the one's duty.
Alasya, indolenza, torpore, assopimento.
Alasya, indolence, torpor, slumber.
Avirati, intemperanza sensuale, quando la mente è dominata da obiettivi solo sensoriali.
Avirati, sensual intemperance, when the mind is dominated by sensory goals.
Bhranti darshana, nozione erronea o illusione.
Bhranti darshana, erroneous notion or delusion.
Alapta bhumikatva, impossibilità di raggiungere il samadhi.
Alapdha bhumikatva, inability to attain samadhi.
Anavasti tattva, instabilità nel perdurare della concentrazione.
Anavasti tattva, instability in continuing concentration.
Se l'essere umano non è in grado di superare questi ostacoli, si ritrova identificato nell'ordinario.
If human beings are unable to overcome such obstacles, they find themselves identified in the ordinary.
Si ritrova infelice o malato, sofferente di ansia, nervosismo, depressione, dolore, eccetera.
Unhappy or ill, suffering from anxiety, nervousness, depression, pain, etc.
La liberazione dalla sofferenza, secondo Patanjali, si ottiene invece mettendo in condizione il Purusha.
Liberation from suffering, according to Patanjali, is achieved instead by enabling the Purusha.
Purusha, l'aspetto senziente della natura che è in noi, di tornare nella sua vera natura.
Yes.
After Purusha,
Yes,
l'aspetto.
the sentient aspect of the nature within us to return to its true nature.
Di svolgere cioè la sua attività di spettatore non partecipe, libero anche dall'influenza dei guna.
To perform, that is, its activity as non-participating spectator free even from the influence of the guna.
Il ritrovamento della realtà del sé, cioè diviene salvifica per l'essere umano.
The rediscovery of the reality of the self becomes saving for the human being.
E secondo il Yoga Sutra, esso non può essere realizzato con il solo raziocinio.
And according to the Yoga Sutra, it cannot be achieved by reasoning alone,
ma con la modificazione e la soppressione dell'ordinaria attività della mente che nasconde la natura divina.
it can be achieved by the modification and suppression of the ordinary activity of the mind that conceals our divine nature.
Ciò si ottiene con l'esercizio costante attraverso il dominio del desiderio.
This is achieved by constant exercise through the mastery of desire.
Con il vairagya e la pratica della virtù.
By vairagya and the practice of the virtue.
Il benessere fisico, anche se è importante, non è il solo fine dell'esistenza umana.
Il physically well-being, while important, is not the only end.
Grazie di avermi seguito fino a qui. Thank you so much. It's for me a pleasure and honor to be with you, work with you. Thank you so much. Namaste to all.
Thank you very much, respected Swamiji, for such an excellent, in-depth, but yet simple understanding that you developed about Pratyahara. You rightly mentioned it is a retreat from taking foods from all the senses. And you also mentioned about the 4 forms of self-control, control of breath, control of senses, actions, and thought. You also mentioned how to refrain from consuming toxic food from all 4 or 5 senses. Otherwise, and you also mentioned about the 5 states of mind: Ship, the mood, Vikship, the Ekagra, and Niruddha. You mentioned how uncontrolled mind is because of the 5 kleshas that we have, which are the obstacles of pratyahara. You also mentioned about the impediments that it generates. And you mentioned about that liberation comes from returning back to our true nature, rediscovering self, and that rediscovery is only possible from through vairagya and constant abhyasa about it. Thank you very much, Swamiji. We are really honored for your insightful expression. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
I
Thank you to
humbly
all.
thanks Swami Suryananda ji for teaching us and giving us useful tips. Thank you very much, Swami ji. We also have with us Dr. Sayyed Tanveer Nasreen. She carries the legacy of spirituality from her family, which is a long Sufi past. She has been educated at Presidency College, Kolkata, Jadavpur University and JNU New Delhi, from where she did PhD. She is specialized in socio-cultural history and gender studies. She founded the Department of Women's Studies in the University of Burdwan, West Bengal. Dr. Nasreen has written and edited several books and articles on gender issues and cultural themes. She has served in several administrative positions in academics. She is also a trained Bharatnatyam dancer. Nowadays, she is serving as First Secretary and Director, Indian Cultural Center, High Commission of India, Maldives.
Namaskar.
Namaste, Tanveerji. We heartily welcome you, and you're audible and visible both. Eager to listen to you.
Hello. Yes. So should I start?
Please. Yes, please, you start. We are open and eager to listen.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tomar. Thank you very much, Dr. Tomar and team, for inviting me to speak today. Thank you, United Consciousness, for organizing this wonderful session on International Yoga Week, on the occasion of International Yoga Week. And the art of letting go. When I heard about this topic for the first time, letting go, the topic seemed fascinating to me. I thank the organizers for initiating a discussion on letting go at a time when the entire world at a personal level as well as at a collective level is on a trip for acquiring more, running behind unrestrained wealth, unrestrained power, perhaps unrestrained destruction as well, and several mundane other things. In this situation, where the 21st century world stands today, as on 25th June 2022, I again heartily congratulate the organizers for selecting this topic and choosing me to speak on this. Thank you very much again, Dr. Tom. I cannot say I am qualified to speak on this. I'm very qualified to speak on this, as like many other fellow human beings, I am often driven by the forces of the common worldly standards of success and ambition, of achievement and power. And the art of letting go then takes a backseat in our daily lives, in our daily practices, and remains more of a theoretical discourse in our daily lives. So I have personally only started my journey, I should say, of understanding the philosophy of letting go, and cannot by any means claim any legitimacy as an expert. There are several pieces of literature available on the art of letting go. I even came across a book that was published in 2016. There are several, inspirational quotes. Well, one might not, if I'm speaking very from a very personal standpoint and my understanding of the subject, my understanding of the topic. And well, there are several inspirational quotes on letting go that you would find all over the internet. But well, one, as I said, I've just commenced my journey on the art of letting go. And one couplet that inspires me very much comes from Tagore. As a Bengali, I speak Bangla, so I'll first recite that couplet for you. It says, this is from Rabindranath Tagore. It says, যাবার যাসি যাবেই চলে না খুলে দিলে দ্বার ক্ষতির সাথে মিলায়ে বাধা করিবে একাকার. My mantra, this is basically my mantra in the practice of the art of letting go. Very roughly translated, it would mean what is destined to go will go. If you understand what wants to go and do not open the door, do not still open the door for it to go, give it a free way to go, it will ruin your life by combining resistance with harm. So when as a very insignificant individual in this vast universe, when I started the practice, the art of letting go, these are the couplets that have, this is the couplet that has inspired me immensely. And I consider this as very significant because what is destined to go will go. And if you understand what wants to go and still do not open the door for it to go, it will remain, it will ruin your life with resistance and harm. So the art of letting go is better practiced for the individual good. Friends, from what I understand of the art of letting go, I wouldn't say that I still have internalized it, imbibed it as an art, but from the small minor practices of letting go, I would say the entire discourse of letting go comes in two aspects. One is the individual's relationships that want to go from your life, the perceptible aspects, and certain imperceptible aspects as well related to your life, character, personality, which want to go away from you. But they are external mostly. And the second point that I would say is internal is where I, as an individual, feel the necessity of shedding some burden of what had been my part, what had been a part of my integral existence until that day, or what I have gathered in the journey of my life. It could be an aspect of my character. It could be a claim over property, again, which can be categorized into the perceptible and the imperceptible. It does involve a lot of conflict within the individual. Well, we understand what are the processes that we might imbibe, the processes we might take to overcome these. But the first point that I would like to underline is that it comes with a lot of conflict within the individual, a lot of conflict within the self, even knowing that is good for everyone in the long run. Most of all good, I as an individual would want for myself, my existence, my peace of mind. But then our ego comes into play and stands as a huge barrier in the way of mastering the art of letting go. Mastering comes much later. We start with practicing the art of letting go. So ego is a major obstacle, and what we do to overcome this ego, what we do to master the art of letting go, comes much later. What comes primarily, what comes first to me, to my understanding, is understanding the barrier or the barriers that arise in the process of starting to practice the art of letting go, and also to identify what actually to let go. And the clinging, the attachment, the association, the ego that are involved with the aspects that we should let go. Letting go, indeed, is an art in the Indian way of life. My second submission is that we are prepared. I'm not sure if anyone has referred to this, but in the Chaturashrama way of life, that the Indian way of life is devised, although this is essentially a male centric way of looking at it, I'll come into it later. The Brahmacharya, the Garhasthya, the Pranaprastha, and the Sannyas are actually phases of this art of acquiring and the art of letting. For instance, the individual acquires the qualifications to help him to prosper as a grihastha, and he is this is the phase of acquiring, not only for the self, not only for the individual, the garhastha, also for the family and the society as a whole, because the other ashramas, the brahmachari, the vanaprasthi, the sannyasi, all depend on the grihastha and the state and the society. The state also depends on the tax of the grihastha. And then, but we are not going into a detailed analysis of the four ashramas of life. But what is very significant to me is sannyasa, of course, is the ultimate renunciation, the ultimate mastering the art of letting go. But before that, we have the vanaprastha. That is very, very interesting to me, very, very appealing to me. And this is the period of training, the period of probation in sannyasa for the art of letting go. The grihastha who had been trained in acquiring, the grihastha who had been trained in accumulating, in clinging on to worldly fortune and many other things, mundane things, is trained in the process of letting go. So the psychological, the philosophical, the spiritual training starts in the process. It, of course, always has been from the days of uh, brahmacharya, but at the phase of vanaprastha, it actually sets in. And sannyas is then the final renunciation, and not just the final renunciation, it is the final voluntary renunciation of all that once had been yours, right in front of yourself. And these are aspects which actually lead into the fruition of the human life as perceived by the concept of Chaturasrama in our ancient philosophy. The third point that I would like to raise in this context is, again, we have two very important terms which I want to raise. One I will not take up in detail, the other I will focus on slightly, are Purushottama and Rajarshi. Purushottama is the Uttam Purusha, the great man. And again, this is not a gender-centric discourse. Although referred to in the male version, it can also be applied to women. Does not refer to men alone. The qualities of the Purushottam can also be viewed in the woman. My point is, taking it up, is the point of Rajarshi. Rajarshi is Raja Rishi, a king and sage. See, the king is essentially the protector of the domain, the administrator of the domain, and the epitome of power, the Vijigishu, the conqueror as we call him, and the Ashwamedha, the Rajashua, the Vajapaya, Yajnas, the finest and the best of our kings, are not just the Chakravartins, not just the Rata, Adhirata, Sabratas. They have been called, the best of our kings have been called Rajarshis. And they have the knowledge, the impeccable knowledge and wisdom comparable to a sage, and This is the perfect fine balance of life that made them into Rajashris who had mastered the art of letting go. Retreat not by compulsion, but by choice. And this is in later stages. If we look at Western political thought, uh, is what has evolved as a very important component of diplomacy, a very important component of statecraft as well. And this is the unique aspect of letting go in our polity, in our political thought, which has greatly inspired me in all these 3 years that I have been serving in a diplomatic position. Our nitis, our kutnitis, our rananitis, our diplomacy, our war strategies, and uh, are essentially defined, are essentially described by a sense of Indianness. We have always given primacy to Dhamma Vijaya over Yuddha Vijaya. And that is what has made Ashoka and Harsha so immortal. If we look at the Kalinga campaign of Ashoka, he could have conquered Kalinga by force, but he knew where to let go. He knew where to retreat, and that has earned him a place of immortality, which I'm sure his the Bijigishu aspect of his character would never have led him to. Similar with Harsha, he was such a Harshavardhana. He was such a powerful king in North India at his time. But at the time when he started letting go, when he started donating, uh, we have read that story, might be hyperbole, that he even donated his clothes. And his sister had to bring clothes for him. And the extent to which he had carried this idea of letting go have remained inspirational stories in the statecraft and uh, relations in the history of India. And these have immortalized them. These have earned them more fame than possibly any bloodshed could. The fourth point I would hurriedly like to mention is about Karma Yoga. And in this context, would like to refer to the fourth, fifth, and the sixth chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the Karma Sannyasa Yoga, and the Atma Sannyasa. Karma Yogi, even when we are talking of, renunciation, talking of the art of letting go, karma also is defined into two parts, the Sakama Karma and the Nishkama Karma. Our philosophy has always glorified, has always looked forward to the Nishkama Karma. And the art of letting go and the art of self-restraint, the Atma Sanyami, understanding the self, what I ultimately want, has been very, very important, very primary, I would say, in practicing the art of letting go, in mastering this art. I would like to refer to the ninth shloka in the sixth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Atma Sangyam Yoga, where it says that one has to keep a samabhava, samabuddhi, in fact, it says, equal treatment and equal wisdom to one's friends, the neutral factors, one's enemies, the, the dharmatmas and the sinners. Surida, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dvesha, Bandhu, Dharmatma, and sinners, it says. So, sadhushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhi vishishvate. So, that is how we master we progress in the path of letting go, and the yogic way of life attain sthita prajna and become sthita prajnas as individuals, not particularly identifiable to caste, community, gender, or creed. To master this, to practice this, to my understanding, we need not be great sannyasis. We can begin from small instances in life, practicing the art of letting go, to make someone happy, to release him or her from the bondage, to relieve them from the pressure of what they feel unwanted, and for the inner peace of ourselves to enable us to focus on other priorities and this should always be voluntary. Let that which wants to go away. If it comes back to you, it was always yours. If it doesn't, it never was. Even if we very strongly cling on to something, not letting it go, it might still then not be mine. So this is again a level of understanding that we need to acquire, a level of understanding we need to execute in our practices, and a level of understanding we need to enrich from our past traditions. The ego of the self, I believe, should never come between the process where the Atman ultimately is in search of the Paramatma. Thank you very much. This is my humble submission.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sayyid Tanveerji. It is such a profound and very comprehensive message about letting go you gave. You mentioned about that when resistance ruins the life. And I especially like how you brought in the concept of 4 ashramas and how Vanprastha is all about letting go, and it's the probation period of sannyasa. And once you go through it, then there are possibility for you to be Purushottama. And you also mentioned about the importance of Rajarshi, as they say that king is most royal when it leaves everything. And you gave example of Ashoka, Harshvardhana, and you rightly gave importance. You mentioned that Dhamma Vijay is always important than the Yuddha Vijay, and Dhamma Vijay comes when you let it go. So retreat not by compulsion, but by choice. You also brought in the Bhagavad Gita's concept of Nishkama Karma, from where you understand about yourself. And then you also mentioned about how you can be equipoised, samabhav and samabuddhi. So you establish in sthita pragya. And that's why this art of letting go is the key to self-realization. And you mentioned ego as the biggest barrier. So I'm sure that the message that you have given to all the audience, it will help them to understand the grand philosophy of letting go and to practice it in future to create a better world. Thank you very much. We are really honored that you gave your time to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Dr. Tanveen Nasreen for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
Sukadev Brits is founder of Yoga Vidya. He knows how to transmit profound wisdom humorously. His special ability is to motivate yoga aspirants to practice intensely, to see a higher meaning in daily experiences, and to bring more energy and heart into everyday life. Sukadev Brits is the author of 10 books, among them commentaries on Yoga Sutra and Bhagavad Gita and the recently published Royal Path to Equanimity. He is quite active spreading yoga via the internet in yoga videos and podcasts in English and German. Sukadev had spiritual experiences from childhood on. As a youngster, he was fascinated by the possibilities of the human mind and started with regular meditation as a teenager. He used to spend a few times several months in intense meditation and pranayama. In 1992, Sukadev founded Yoga Vidya, now one of the leading yoga movements in Europe. Yoga Vidya has 4 major ashrams, nearly 100 yoga centers, and 20,000 yoga teachers. Today, he lives in Germany, in Hornbach, Mainburg. Get inspiration and energy from this dynamic spiritual teacher. Please welcome Sukadev ji.
Namaste. On behalf of Yoga Vidya Network Germany, on behalf of European Yoga Federation and United Consciousness, I welcome you to a short yoga session for heart opening and energizing. You start with a simple variation of standing Kapalabhati. So you stand up, feet well rooted in the earth, feel connected to Mother Earth. Breathe a few times. Then inhale, lift up your arms. And then inhale, inhale. Inhale, 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 exhale deeply. Inhale deeply, fill up your whole system with energy. Exhale completely. Inhale with your abdomen, fill your lungs to 70% and retain your breath. Feel the energy pulsate in your fingertips, in your face, and your whole system. One more time. Exhale completely. Inhale, abdomen out. Exhale, abdomen in. Lift up your arms and inhale, 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 exhale completely. Inhale deeply, fill up your lungs. Exhale completely. Now inhale and lift up your arms towards the ceiling. Hold your breath and feel your heart open. Welcome the energy of the sky. Feel pulsating prana, pulsating energy. Then slowly exhale and lower your arms. Stand for a few seconds. Feel that pulsating energy. Now, heart opening breath. Exhale, put your hands towards your heart. And inhale, arms up and a little bit into the backward bend. And feel the energy from your heart opening up. Exhale again your hands towards your heart. If necessary, breathe once in between. Otherwise, inhale one more time, lifting up towards the sky. Hold your breath. Feel your heart opened up. And exhale one more time towards your heart. And one more time, inhale, opening up. Feel yourself expanded, full of joy, love. And exhale, lower your arms. One moment, stand like that. And now bend forward to the standing forward bend. Even if you're not that flexible as Sonia, you can just bend your knees a little bit and just hang down as far as you can. But if you're flexible, stretch out your legs and just remain standing like that. A gesture of devotion, of letting go, of bending, of humility. Breathe deeply with your abdomen. Feel connected with Mother Earth. Then bend your knees and slowly come up. And now come to a balancing backward bend, Natarajasana, dancing pose. Bend your left knee, grasp hold of your ankle, lift up your right arm, and put your arm backwards and your left knee backwards. It's a little easier to look forward. If you have a good balance, you can even look upwards towards the ceiling or the sky. Balancing, heart opening, opened for the heavens. Breathe deeply. Slowly come out of the position. Lower your arm, lower your foot. Change sides. Lift up your other leg. Grasp hold of the ankle. Lift up your arm, lift up your foot. Either look forward or upwards. Feel your chest expanded, your heart opened. Your gaze towards the sky, your mind open towards the heaven. Breathe, smile. Slowly lower your leg, lower your arm, and for a few moments breathe with your abdomen. We bend forwards, we bend backwards, now we bend sideways. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Your feet 1 meter to 1.20 meters apart. Bisschen weiter. Then inhale, right arm up, and exhale towards the left. Try to bend just sideways without turning. There are also twisting triangles, but try now to just bend sideways. And then imagine that your energy field is opening towards the right. Your ribs are expanded, your energy field expands towards the right. With the next inhalation, lift up your arm. Exhale, lower your arm. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale towards the right. Breathe deeply. Feel the stretch in your upper arm, shoulder, your ribs, your abdomen, your hip. And imagine that your energy field gets wide and large towards the left. With the next inhalation, lift up your arm. Exhale, lower your arm. Close your legs, or let them just 10 to 20 centimeters apart for a moment of standing relaxation. Weight is on your feet, especially your heels. Toes are relaxed, fingers relaxed, arms relaxed. Feel connected with Mother Earth. Open yourself towards the sky, towards the heaven. Open for inspiration. Feel your heart open, joy and love. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings attain peace and harmony. May the practice of this 9 days International Yoga Week unite consciousness of yoga practitioners in the whole world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace prevail on earth. Peace be unto all.
Thank you very much, respected Sukhdevji. And our heartfelt thank to respected Sadhika ji also with you. It is very encouraging to see how you connected 5 elements with asana, not only balancing body but breath, mind also along with it, is really a message for all the practitioners from different parts of the world. You connected it with chakras of the body also. Along with that, you also gave a message to connect this asanas practice with the virtues of joy and love and openness also. I'm sure that the way you conducted asana, you guided us, will help people to integrate all 8 limbs of yoga sadhana with asana itself. So kind of you. Thank you very much for your blessings.
I humbly thank Shri Sukdev Ji for teaching us the practical yoga practices for attuning our mind, body and soul. Thank you very much, Sukdev. I feel delighted to welcome and introduce our next guest, Mr. Anton Vesjak. He is the co-founder and director of Bhaktivedanta Institute Slovenia, branch of the Bhaktivedanta Institute International, the academic wing of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness ISKCON, founded by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. He has received PhD from Mechanical Engineering at University of Ljubljana. In 2003, at the end of his graduate study, he came in contact with the Vedic knowledge presented in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Purana. His interest in the Vedic sciences for consciousness, yoga and metaphysics increased, and he shifted his research focus and dedication to the Vedic wisdom and practice, especially the tradition of Bhakti Yoga. His main focus and interest is in value-based education, research and application of spiritual technologies, holistic personal growth and well-being models, building sustainable communities and leadership for higher consciousness. As member of Latin America chapter of ISACA, participated in the training and implementation of the COVID standards and the BSI standards for security and risk reductions in computer architecture as member of Global Association of Risk Professionals. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Anton Vesjak.
Namaste, Hare Krishna, ladies and gentlemen, and all honorable participants. First, let me express my gratitude to be part of this very important event, International Yoga Week, organized by United Consciousness. And also, I'm honored to be with all of you, audience, and I'm very grateful for that. So I was given a topic about, from yoga philosophy, topic of dealing with raga and dvesha. Before we start, just a little, we're taking shelter of our previous acharyas, previous teachers who they so gracefully give us this knowledge. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmritamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Vishnu Bhutare Shrimate Radhanath Swami Te Namine Namo Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Vishnu Bhutare Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Te Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachari Vishesha Shrunavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vanchakalpatru Visha Kripasinto Eva Chaptram Bhavani Bhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the topic of raga and dvesha fits into the well-known concept of yoga philosophy. This is Pancha Klesha, mentioned many parts of the scriptures, especially in Yoga Sutra. This is 5 klesha, 5 causes of suffering, or 5 types of suffering, which are avidya, ignorance, which covers the spirit soul. Then next is asmita, is covering with ahankara, false ego, which brings following 2 sufferings, One is attachment, raga, and second is hatred or envy. And last, fifth klesha and suffering, cause of suffering, is abhinivesha, which is when the soul is absorbed into this body. Fear arises, the fear of death and other fears which are there. So, as we mentioned in the beginning, dealing with raga and dvesha. So these two causes of suffering, of course, are generated by when the spirit soul identifies with this body, this gross and subtle body. And according to our conditioning, according to the yoga philosophy, you are conditioned with three modes of material nature, Rajaguna, Tamaguna, and Sattvaguna, and conditioned by our previous activities, karmic law. Conditioned soul has particular attachment to sense objects, which comes into contact with his senses, with the spiritual soul senses, material senses. So they are attached to particular objects, and of course they are also awares to the items or means which obstruct this happiness which comes from contact with the senses. And this attachment to the material happiness with the material objects and aversion is, according to the yogi philosophy, is an obstacle for aspiring yogi to achieve the goal, to achieve, every spirit, soul, or everyone, every living being, every living entity is driven by a desire for happiness. Of course, not material happiness as maybe we are accustomed in material world in this age, but spiritual happiness, Brahma Saukyam, which is it's not temporary, it is lasting and is fulfilling. So this goal of the yogi, cherished goal of the yogi, is abstracted with these two situation of attachment to material happiness and aversion to those things who are obstructing this material happiness. So this duality makes us restless, make us ashantasya, means not peaceful, and where there is no peace, there is no happiness. That's short. So Vedic literature also gives a very nice example, which I come across, that these two, raga and dvesha, are just like a thieves which appears on the road and attack the traveler on the road, on the journey. And similar for the yogi, these two, attachment and aversion, are also like a thieves which steals away a yogi's attention from the goal. So Bhagavad Gita, which is well known, the most known, esteemed Vedic literature, where Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna. He mentions this concept quite a lot, deals with the Ragadvesha, when he describes the perfect self-realized yogis and the characteristic of that self-realized yogis. And he mentioned that how yogi function in this world, how he deals with the sense objects and with his senses, how he interacts senses and the sense objects. And very famous shloka in second chapter which describes this. Aragadvesha vimukhtaistu Atma Vishayar Vishayatma Prasaram Adhikachati. So Krishna here defines the self-realized yogis, that who is not attached to this attachment and aversion of to material sense gratification, but yogi strives to control the senses towards the sense objects, and so his activities are not guided by the pleasures of this interaction, but guided by the scripture, by the Bhagavad Gita, by the Upanishads, by the Puranas, by Krishna, which is the author and goal of all Vedic scriptures. So, for the yogis, it's recommended that regulates his sense activities, and that doesn't just respond to the impulse of interaction between the sense objects and the senses, but his acts are guided by the Shastra or Guru Saru Shastra. It's oriented, so it's regulated sense interaction to maintain. It is said that such a level that it maintains what is necessary so this body can function to perform yoga towards the esteemed goal. So regulates the senses how Shastra orders. And usually this goes from fulfilling our duties, which are described in the Vedas, right? We have many levels of duties or level of dharma. Of the most basic is, to act according to our ashram life stage, students, brahmachari, or family life, or vanaprastha, or sannyas, or according to our occupational duties, karmic configuration, which is brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra. And of course, this is the first level of beginning level of dharma, and towards, of course, upper level, which is described in Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna concludes in the 18th chapter, where he explains that sarva dharmam parityajat mam ekam sharanam vraja, that all other dharmas are useful, but the most utmost is dharma is surrendered to him, to Supreme Bhagavan, Supreme Krishna. And that is Bhagavad Dharma, and the activities Bhagavad Dharma are most cherished, desirable according to the Bhagavad Gita. So yogis, aspiring yogi, according to Bhakti tradition, is that engage his senses, not according to how they are pleasurable, but how are pleasing to the Lord. So yogis, bhakti yogis, or yogis in general, they engage their senses to please the Lord. And how is it pleased comes from the Shastra and forth from the cyclic succession. So the pleasing the Lord is the highest dharma described in the Vedas. So according to the ages, this pleasing the Lord is also have variety, and we know we have four yugas: Satya, golden, Tritya, silver, then Dvapara, bronze, and Kali, iron age. And for each age there is prescribed or recommended dharmic activity for us, for our senses. And for this age, Harinama eva kevalam, kalaunastyava, natir katyata. So for this age, the Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya is recommended. Congregational chanting of the holy names together. This is the most simple and the most sublime and the most efficient for this age. Chanting congregationally and glorifying the Lord's name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Stated in Bhavishya Purana and the Kaleshantara Upanishad, that for this age, this is the most efficient engagement for the yogis and all the activities, and has the most powerful and sublime effect. Of course, in this effect is what? That our mind is purified, our heart is purified, and our mind is purified, then our mind is peaceful, and that peace enables us that our intelligence can be focused on the goal, which is reestablish yuktasya, to reestablish our original position, which is we are parcel of the Bhagavan. We are Jiva Shakti, and our constitutional position is to serve the supreme source, supreme Bhagavan, Lord Shri Krishna. And when intelligence is fixed, then our mind is peaceful, and when we're peaceful, then we can experience the happiness. Without peace, there is no happiness. So this was a short, brief overview of how we deal with attachment, raga, and aversion, dvesha, which is presented within yoga philosophy as pancha kleshas. Thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully it makes some sense. And thank you once again for the organizers for giving us this opportunity. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anton. It was a very important topic you elaborated upon, and I think who better than a disciple of Lord Krishna himself and from ISKCON can speak better about raga and dvesha and the importance of removing this from life. I absolutely admire the way you said that they are the thieves on the road of sadhana and they steal our attention, and the importance of guru and shastra, that is most important. And then you mentioned about chanting the mantra of Lord Krishna consciousness. It really puts us on the track on our sadhana and enable us to see beyond raga and dvesha. Thank you very much, Dr. Antonji. We are blessed to have you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vikrant Singh and all other participants for this amazing organization, and hopefully to continue with this very, very important work for humanity. Thank you very much.
So kind of you. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I feel delighted to welcome our next performance by Mr. Zara Diop. He is originally from Senegal and Mali. He is a dancer, choreographer, pedagogue. In 2003, he began his training with the ballet Rhythms de Pekini, then the ballet Celeba, with the Sissoko, a large family of tribes. He continued his training in several darker companies, both in traditional Senegalese rhythm and Mandika rhythms. He then discovered contemporary dance with Andre Ouamba and trained with various contemporary dancers. He will collaborate with several Senegalese companies in various festivals and on various artistic projects. He is the founder of the company in traditional and contemporary African dances, Negamek C, which he co-created in 2021 upon his arrival in France. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Zara Diop. On behalf of Yoga is a framework of improving holistic health, well-being and self-awareness. Yoga is experiencing a sense of truth, wholeness and openness to the infinite. Yoga is the union of oneself with higher state of consciousness. Yoga is not only about asanas. How to attain self-realization? Let's have answers from the experts in the panel discussion on the topic Yoga Beyond Stretching. Our guest today is Dr. Pedro Pastor. He is Doctor in Health Science from the University of Alcalá de Henares, Madrid, Spain. Dr. Pedro is licensed in nursing and is specialized in occupational nursing. He is Master in Public Health. He is also the International Yoga Teacher and Teacher Trainer registered by Yoga Alliance. He is trained in Raja Yoga at Bihar School of Yoga, Munger, India. Also Judo Teacher, Black Belt. He is the founder and president of the Sankalpa Yoga Association. Dr. Pedro Pastor feels that each human being is immersed in his own path and is important to have the possibility of equipping himself with the tools that yoga provides us to become aware of each vital cycle, repeating nature, the environment and the body itself. Because of that way, the human beings is able to find happiness, and that path likes to call it yoga. Our next guest, Ms. Amrita Magdala, whose love for nature and for Gaia, the earth and humanity represents, has moved Amrita into the exploration of consciousness. A journey that ongoingly opened towards unrealized possibilities, normally unimaginable to our current state of realization. Creating unity is finding love as the thread that unites all traditions, all relations, all beings on the earth. As the expression of her soul, she helps now the arising awareness through the arts in the form of music and art. Founder of the Voice of Gaia, a movement raising consciousness through music and art, inspiring love for Mother Earth and humanity. Today we also have with us Dr. Stefan Ilchev, President of Bulgarian Yoga Federation. He is practicing yoga since 2003. He is graduated in the yoga course for instructors at National Sports Academy. He participates in numerous yoga workshops organized by Indian and Bulgarian yoga teachers. From 2008 to 2011, he was Vice President of BYF. He graduates medicine in 1992 and became a specialist in internal medicine. Work at the University Hospital, Pleven. His interest is in the field of yoga therapy and homeopathy. It's my pleasure to welcome our next guest, who is one of the highly accomplished leading professional in the field of holistic wellness in the world. He is Dr. Adrish Brahmadatta. Presently, he is the visiting professor and course coordinator of yoga and Ayurveda at the Center for Bharat Studies, Mahidol University, Thailand. He is the founder and director of Atharva Wellness Private Limited, Thailand. He is a qualified registered Ayurveda doctor, and being a wellness professional has given lectures and trainings in more than 21 hours in various wellness related programs in various institutions such as universities, colleges, fitness centers, Ayurveda centers, yoga centers, prisons, rehabilitation centers and societies in 55 countries such as USA, UK, Australia, Taiwan, China, Japan, Mongolia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Indonesia and Thailand and many others. Being an academician, he has the responsibility as visiting lecturer, syllabus maker, examiner, etc. with many universities. Dr. Adrish has involved in high government prisoners well-being program and contributed his expertise in 4 central prisons and trained thousands of prisoners in Thailand. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, Convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomer is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, Dr. Stephen G. We acknowledge your presence Namaste, Amrita ji. We acknowledge your presence. Namaste, Dr. Edrish. We acknowledge your presence. And dear friends who are watching us from different parts of the world, today we are going to have a panel discussion on a very interesting and relevant topic: yoga beyond stretching. By chance, a big part of the world, yoga has been popularized as the physical stretching, or in a way, a part of gymnastic. But there are many masters who believe that yoga is not only physical stretching, it is stretching the mind also. It is stretching your soul also till to the divine consciousness. So let's try to understand from our masters today, what is the difference between yoga and asana? Are they same or is there any difference? So let me begin with Dr. Edris. Dr. Edris, what do you think? What is the difference between yoga and asana? Are they same or there is a difference? Please unmute and speak.
Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Bikrant, for the opportunity to speak in this such platform, which is now globally recognized. Last time also I got the opportunity, and this time. And uh, nice to see two of the expertise from Dr. Stefan and Dr. Amrita. I just gone through their bios as great achievements. Anyway, we come to the point right now. Dr. Vikrant, that in your profile there is a saying, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Actually, that is also beyond the stretching. There is a sense of yoga to unite and combine and give the brotherlyhood or sisterlyhood and give the positive vibes to people. Today, yoga, as you said, explained earlier, that it is all about people that are thinking it is physical element or physical stretching. Exactly, it is, as you said, it is beyond that. It is a mental and spiritual stretching, expansion of mental and spiritual of the spirit or the spirituality of the individual. So it is somehow the people, 21st century young people, they want to achieve many things in short period of time. Where yoga is a holistic science, it takes some time to realize and to expand through practice. So what happens, sometimes these people, our generations, the youth, the young generation, somehow they forget it is all about how you do, with awareness, with awareness on breath, with awareness on the body movement and the coordination. But sometimes the people, they just jump and they want to sweat. They do not focus. They listen to even the yoga classes in Europe, in US, even now in India. Some of the yoga in the classes, they put the music. So when it's music, I feel comfortable, but they don't understand the essence. You are practicing not just physical, you are practicing as a holistic, for your physical body, for your mental body, for your spiritual body. So then you can expand, you can physically, you will be balanced, mentally you will be more content, you will not fall into the trap of the emotions, you will rather, you will come over it. And spiritually you will be more vibrant and you will feel joy and happiness, even how big the problem is in the life, but still you feel content, you feel more achieved, more happy, joyfulness. No one can take your happiness away. That
Mhm.
is what, in my words, I want to
Thank
explain.
you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Idris said that
Yeah.
we need to follow holistic science of yoga rather than only physical aspect, and the science that unites me, you, and all, which connects us also together. I'll ask Amrita ji. Amrita ji, you have been a practicing yogini. So when we talk about yoga beyond stretching, so to our audience, what is it that is beyond stretching? Because majority of the people are stretching, twisting their body, and they say that they are doing yoga. So what is it in yoga which is beyond stretching?
Oh, hello everyone. First, I would like to, I don't know, have a maybe.
You may fix that.
Do you
You
hear
have
an
two
echo?
devices, I guess.
Okay, maybe
I
you
will
ask
ask this question to you later. Let me ask Stephen. He tell you fix it. Please mute yourself, Amritaji. Perfect. Thank you. So, Stephen ji,
Yes.
the same question to you. What is it in yoga which is beyond sleep?
In order to, how do you hear me? Is it okay?
Perfect.
Okay. In order to answer of that question, we have to know what is stretching and what is yoga. In my opinion, stretching concerns the body, only the body. Or maybe the most people of the world understand that stretching is about the body. And what is yoga? We have a lot of definitions of yoga, but yoga is unity, integrity, holistic approach towards not only the body, but also towards our mind, emotions, etc. We cannot divide asanas from yoga because asana is one part of yoga, and we cannot divide the whole limbs of yoga. If we are doing only asanas, we are just stretching our body. That's why we have to practice the whole limbs of yoga. What is asana? We can see what Patanjali says in his definition in Sutra 46, chapter 2, in his sutras. Sthira Sukham Asanam, stable and comfortable. This is a posture helpful for yoga according to Patanjali. Thus, any posture which will be comfortable and which could be maintained steadily for a long time can be asana. As we know, the word asana comes from the root as, to sit. Every articles used for sitting are also called asana. Thus, we can conclude that asana is sitting posture suitable for the practice of the next limbs of yoga. Directions for such postures are given not only in Yoga Sutras, but also in Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and they are described as a firm position with folded and fixed legs and erect back and neck. So any sitting, erect, relaxed, and maintained for a long time position will fit this. Even Hatha Yogic asanas should and could be maintained for whatever maximum period comfortably, which will give psychological and spiritual result. Every movement should be smooth without jerk, force, and pressure. If otherwise they become only physical exercises or stretching.
Thank you. Dr. Stephen mentioned, I guess we have to switch off the mic. Dr. Edris and Stephen, if you can. Thank you. I guess, yes. Thank you, Dr. Stephen. Thank you. So, Dr. Stephen mentioned about that it is not only about asanas, but it is about mind and emotions also. But he said that asanas are the integral part of yoga, cannot be eliminated. It is the foundation. And it helps you to sit in the posture very smoothly without jerk, so that you can go for the further steps in yoga limbs. Amritaji, I can twist my body very good. I have lots of flexibility in my body, but I remain agitated. I remain irritated. I don't have any mental peace. Will you call me a yogi, Amritaji?
First, please, I don't want, because I want to explain something about myself. I'm not a trained yogi. I don't know any theory about yoga. So I need to make this very clear about this. I do understand yoga. I'm not sure how, but I feel we all have everything within. And when we touch that source of oneness, then everything is known in a sense. So when I hear the word yoga or yogi, it comes an understanding that is not from knowledge, please. I want to make this clear. It's not theoretical. So for me, a yogi, when I hear yoga or yogi, is to become one with. So how is that for expansiveness? I cannot imagine any more expansive than to become one with. The path to become one with what is everything. It's continuous. It's an ongoing journey. So in this sense, it's beautiful what they're saying. It is really about sitting, but it's sitting within the peacefulness within. It is, for me, I call that there's a throne inside. It's in the heart. It's in the heart of love. It's love itself. When we are sitting within this throne, everything is peaceful. And yes, the expansiveness of the world and the universe is stretched before our eyes. We are part of it. We are not separate anymore. This is what I can share about this. I apologize. I don't know about. I'm studying now. For me, everything is being backwards. I'm getting to know now more about yoga. I'm very interested. But after I had experiences of it, and I was considering what is this, and then I became very interested in all these philosophies all around the world. And yoga, I have has my utmost respect. Everybody here too. Thank you for what you do. It's amazing. So I feel there's two ways always in. Sometimes it's the outward journey towards the inward journey. Sometimes it's the inward journey towards the outward journey. Everything is perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Amritaji mentioned that it's not about external knowledge. All knowledge is within. When you are sitting in that asana, you need to be sitting with not only physically comfortable, you should be mentally peaceful also. She mentioned there is a throne of love inside, and whosoever sits on this with peace, with love, feels peace. And one thing I especially like what you said, that it's not actually you stretching. When you sit with love, even universe stretches itself to embrace you. So Dr. Edris, let me come to you with the question that you mentioned, that it has to be holistic, physical, mental, and emotional. It is not only about physical, mental, and emotional. It is easy to be still physically, but it's not that easy to be still mentally and keeping the emotions still. So, how should I go about? Please unmute and speak.
Okay, thank you. You raised this beautiful question on this for the discussion. You see, for a common man, it's very difficult to understand that they have a mind and how it works. Also, they very difficult for them to understand that there is a spirit within them, and many people also they don't believe in spirit that, and many people believe that they have a spirit, and it's all about to make the spirit recognized and through peace and through silence. As you know, that in yogic science, in yoga itself, that we discuss about the panchakosa, that this body is not just the physical body. When we appear or when we see someone, we see the physical part of the individual, right? And asanas are designed to nourish, to take care of that physical part, that is Arnamaya Kosa, where the how you nourish your mind, that is the Manomaya Kosa, is nourished by practice of meditation. So one must practice meditation to stable the emotions, to expand the mind and stable the emotions. And also Vijnanamaya Kosa, which is considered as the intellectual body of the individual. And through learning, through listening to the teachers, practice of Swadhyaya, we understand the emotions, we understand what we are doing and how we are affected by the events, and that how it generates different kinds of emotions. So through our intellect, we can control the intellect, our emotions, that how we should behave, how should work, how we should manage the events. So not to be fall in the trap, into the trap of the events, rather we behave very nicely in our, in the emotional way.
Thank
So
you. Mhm.
so the important thing is that along with asanas practice, we must practice pranayamas for pranamaya kosha and meditations for manamaya kosha, and for study or listening to the teacher, more intuitive, to acquiring the knowledge, practice of swadhyaya, we should expand and nourish our
Thank you.
intellectual body. Then we can balance ourselves. So this is how it is beyond the physical of the asanas or stretching.
Thank you. So Dr. Adris mentioned the five koshas, five uh, components or shells of our existence. He mentioned that this physical body is nourished by asana, but the pranic body, the energetic body, is nourished by pranayama. So we should also practice pranayama. This mind gets nourished by meditation. So should work on that also. And the intelligence I have, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, is nourished by listening to a righteous guru and doing swadhyaya. That's profound, Dr. Edris. Stephen G., after understanding what Dr. Edris is saying, I I am twisting my body. I can be very flexible. I have understood this also, that I should work like this. But when I go to the organization in the society, then when I behave, I can't control myself. I get irritated very soon. I react. So may I be called yogi then?
Of course not, because if we are saying that we are practicing yoga, we have to practice it 24 hours, because the practices of asanas is maybe 1.5 hours. The practice of pranayama is 30 minutes to 1 hour, but the practice of yamas and niyamas should be 24 hours during when we are sleeping. I will oppose a little bit to Dr. Hadrish, if you allow me. Not Patanjali put asanas not by chance in the beginning of yoga practice, which shows the importance of asanas. If we look at the pure Hatha yogic scriptures, for instance, Hatha Pradipika, it says that, which begins with asanas, it says that Hatha yoga is for those who are perplexed by confusion caused by multiplicity of views and thus remain ignorant for true Raja Yoga. We are identifying Raja Yoga with meditation, isn't it? Yes, Raja Yoga means meditation. But it is very difficult for us to deal with our minds, because as we know, the mind is compared with a mad monkey, and it is very, very difficult to deal with mind. When we are doing asanas properly every day for a long period of time, it affects our nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which are and the activation of parasympathetic nervous system, because due to the everyday asana and pranayama practice, is calming our mind and prepares our mind for pratyahara and the next stages of Ashtanga yoga, like dhyana and dharana. So it could be, but it is very difficult to start meditation in the beginning without the good practice of asanas and of course pranayama.
Thank you. You may need to mute Dr. Stephen. So Dr. Stephen said is also very profound. He mentioned that you may practice pranayama for 30 minutes, meditation for 30 minutes, but yama and niyama has to be practiced 24 hours. And this is how these 8 limbs together makes it comprehensive and complete. He said there is a special purpose why the asana is put at the early limbs, because when you do asana and pranayama properly, it affects your parasympathetic nervous system, which in turn calms your mind and makes you ready for further pratyahara and meditation, because mind being monkey, it is not that easy to enter into meditation. That's profound, Dr. Stephen. Let me ask Amritaji. Amritaji, you said that one need to sit within self on the throne of love, and then world appears peaceful. But there are many people who ask this question. I don't feel loved. I don't feel loved enough. So that person is not loving me enough. That is not loving me enough. That is not loving me enough. I'm not feeling loved enough. And on the another side, even I'm not loving myself enough. So how to sit in this inner throne of love with your experiential learning?
At one point in my life, what I understood is that I didn't know this. I didn't know love. So the first thing was to understand this. So I would say be truthful to yourself first. Truth, it's an open gate, door to love. So don't force, just be truthful. When I understood this, I needed to ask more questions. To inquire, we need to understand one thing. This, I feel it cannot happen if the time has not come. So don't try to push anything. At one point, you will know when to sit because all other options in the world are exhausted. I mean, there are no more answers out there. So at one point, you have no other choice. In the sense, when you sit, like Dr. Stefan was saying, right, to do pranayama, to turn within, which is the invitation for all humanity at one point, is because the world is getting too loud out there. You need to be truthful to yourself that that world is really getting too much for you. There's an ongoing lie nowadays that it's okay, I can do this, when all your insides are screaming, I cannot do this anymore, or I don't know. To be truthful, to be in your space, in your private, which is your throne of love, to be in your private, in your connection with the divine, which is within. Listen to that. Give yourself time to breathe that, right? And then ask the questions. In which way am I not being loving to myself? Maybe I'm not listening to myself enough. Listening is very important. In which way I'm not being loving to others and I could do more? You see, this is a path of a warrior. It's a warrior and it's 24/7. One lie will bring everything down, but to remain honest, humbleness, enough to know the truth is what leads to this peacefulness.
Thank you. Amritaji mentioned that what she meant by sitting on the throne of love is this, that be with yourself and listen to your inner self. Be truthful to yourself. Have patience, don't push. And insights will start emerging through self-inquiry. Understanding this, Adriji, you also mentioned something about Swadhyaya, an inner inquiry. Would you like to give some tips to our audience today from where to begin this Swadhyaya? Because certainly Swadhyaya is beyond physical stretching. It is stretching your understanding. So how can I stretch my understanding with Swadhyaya? Practical tips which I can do from tomorrow itself. Please unmute and speak.
So again, okay. So as we know, practice of Swadhyaya, self-study, is coming under practice of a niyama, which is a individual conduct in terms of second Ashtanga Yoga, the second limbs of. So in Swadhyaya, this is all about to acquiring, to enhancing our ability to, like for example, you said that practical point of view, before going to bed, close your eyes and you go through all your activities since morning till the bedtime. That is that you observe that what are the activities that you did for yourself, for your family, or for the people, or for the society. You must aware of all your deeds, all your act. When you make aware of it, that then you are expanding, means you must aware of your role for the society, for the universe. So this is one of the practice that you observe. And secondly, Swadhyaya practice also to go through the right scriptures, right books, choose the right books. It talk about like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, so or any spiritual books that consider it has something to give for the humanity. Go through it. Read the good books, good publication books. Reading and listening to the rightest teacher, the gurus, who talks about oneness, who talks about binding people, humanity, peace. Listening to that and observing ourselves, we can expand our self-study of practice of Swadhyaya.
Thank you. Very practical tips Dr. Edris gave us. Close your eyes, just scan through whole day, see where I can improve, where I can be more accommodative, accepting it will expand us beyond limited identities of self. Read scriptures and go to the right master. Dr. Stephen, you mentioned that there are techniques through which, once my question is over, then you switch on the mic.
It is switch on.
Yes, you right now please switch off the mic. Yes, somehow I'm getting my voice back once you switch on the mic. Yes, thank you. So my question to you would be, you mentioned there are some techniques of pranayama and asana to activate parasympathetic nervous system and keep mind peaceful. And that keeping mind peaceful is certainly beyond physical stretching. So would you like to give some idea to our audience? A small practical tip which can be done at any moment. If I'm feeling very much right now, anxiety, I'm feeling lots of anxiety right now, something happened or whatever. How can I just keep my mind peaceful? Any small technique?
Yes. First of all, people need to know that there is another way of living except this ordinary living which they live. Waking up early in the morning, going to work, and then back at home, the television, and so on and so on. That's why the usefulness of such events you are organizing, United Consciousness, is very useful for people to get know that there is another way of living, that there is way of living with less suffering, way of living with calm mind. This is first. Then, second, there should be motivation for people to stop their physical and mind suffering. if somebody is not quite motivated, nothing could be done about him. So I have to have strong desire to stop my suffering, to change my way of living. Secondly, one have to find a good master, good teacher, as Dr. Adriji said. Without a good master, there is this chance to make mistakes on the road to the spirituality. So the second good master is important. Then we have to regulate our diet and our sleeping. The regulation of diet and sleeping will lead to calming the mind, calming the body, and not last, we have to create a proper surrounding around us with people, etc. And of course, we have to start practicing the true yoga.
Thank you. So lots of practical tips Dr. Stephen gave. One question I received, Amrita ji, for you is, yes, I can sit quiet and listen to my inner self, but what happens is at times so many noises come from self, and I get all the most confused that what exactly I want, I don't know. So how to pick which voice from within is correct?
Well, first we need to understand that when everything is very loud, there's very little clarity yet. So there's too many voices. So if you choose one, it's probably going to be the wrong one always. We need to wait for when there is enough silence for one voice to arise clearly. If that one voice is not arising clearly and it's uniquely just one, then it's not the time for you to decide yet. You still need to keep yourself time to just sit and allow all those voices to rise. What is very important is that when you do sit, it doesn't matter if you sit for 10, 15, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, but you need to forget the word. You need to unconditionally sit and just, I don't know, repeat yourself, there's nothing else in the world but this now. Just drop everything, your family, your friends, what you have to do. Completely say, there's only now, this moment. For some people, this doesn't work. Then it's not time yet. Don't force, don't push. At one point, you will want to sit and please, I've had it. I want to forget about the world. And you're just, this feels good, just sitting. Wait for that moment to come and wait for that one voice to arise. Then it's clarity.
Thank you very much. So, dear friends who are watching us from different parts of the world or who will be watching us, we have our honorable guests from different parts of the world, and we discussed on the topic yoga beyond stretching. Adrisji mentioned that yoga stands for uniting me, you, and all. And the holistic yoga is not only physical, it has mental and emotional dimensions also. And he mentions the 5 shilth of our existence, that is called 5 koshas. And he said for Annamaya kosha, it is asana that is important. From Pranamaya kosha, go for pranayama. For Manamaya kosha, go for meditation. For Vijnanamaya kosha and intelligence, go for learning and listening to yourself and learning from the guru and do swadhyaya. So he mentioned about the 5 koshas and how each kosha can be nourished. Stephen G added with that, yes, there is a lot beyond the stretching in yoga, but at the same time, asana is an integral part of yoga. Probably he's trying to say that yoga without asana is not Ashtanga yoga, it is Vikalanga yoga, handicapped yoga. It is not a complete yoga without asana. He said, Sthiram Sukham Asana, you need to have strong foundation, physical also and mental also, before you perform higher limbs of yoga. And then he said that meditation and swadhyaya has some limitations. but yamas and niyamas should be practiced all 24 hours. As somebody rightly said, that Raman Maharshi, when was asked, which is the best asana, he said, Nididhyasana. Practicing all the time is the best asana. And that is what Stephen G is saying, that do yama and niyamas all the time. He mentioned that Hatha Yoga Pratipika also establishes this, that mind is monkey, but through asanas and pranayama, we can activate our parasympathetic nervous system, keeping mind quiet and calming the mind. You can go for the higher limbs on pratyahara and other. And he said that we need to understand that there are other ways of living also. Don't accept the suffering, that there is no way out. Like Buddha said, there is a solution to this suffering, and I need to seek the solution. That mumukshutva, that inspiration has to be there within, that yes, I will identify alternative way of living happily. And if you can't do it yourself, Stephen G said, and even Adrish Ji said, go for a master. Master will give you the path. Guru positioning system, GPS, and regulate diet and sleep. He also said, have proper surrounding also, because your vibrations get affected by the people around you, and do yoga daily. Adrishji also mentioned that read scriptures also as a swadhyaya, and close your eyes and scan your daily routine and see where you could have expanded more to the universe. And wherever you will find, do it more, so that you will open to the world. And then when you are open to the world, you will be sitting in the throne of love inside you, what Amritaji said. And when you are sitting in the throne of love for yourself and for the people around you, what you feel is peace. And when you are sitting on the throne of love, you don't need to stretch yourself. Even the universe will start stretching to embrace you. How to sit on the throne of love? Be truthful to yourself. Listen to your inner voice. Don't push. Have patience. Because in emotions, fast is slow and slow is fast. And if you don't get any clear voice from within, have patience. So 3 P's Amritaji is saying, be still. Try to sit very peacefully. Keep your mind clear. Sit peacefully. Have patience. Probably do prayers, whatever you want. So patience, prayer, and peace will help you to know what is your inner voice. And once you know your inner voice, then you will be able to connect and embrace the universe, and universe will be embracing you, which is the true purpose of yoga. And I'm sure who are watching us today will certainly get inspired to initiate having a yogic life. Thank you very much. Yes, Amritaji.
Dr. Vikram, could we add one thing? Now,
Sure, why
listening
not?
to you, to this same question, if you don't know and you still don't have the patience, maybe one more thing that we could add, then follow someone who knows, help them. Helping others may always help yourself. So open to service. Do serve others that do know what they hear, that clear voice inside. And then at one point, yours will also, like
Perfect.
a flower.
You serve the universe will serve you back. Identify the right guru, and the guru will take you there. Thank you very much, Dr. Adris ji. Thank you, Dr. Stephen ji. Thank you, Amrita ji, for a wonderful discussion today. I'm sure I am enriched. All of the people must have enriched. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I feel delighted to welcome Ms. Roya Ravan-Baksh, Masters in Economics and International Management. She is specialized in the diagnosis of the strengths and needs of the company and of its employees, designing solutions and leading their implementation. She is also a certified heartfulness meditation full trainer, a certified professional life and NLP coach by the Academy of Coaching and AMP Training UK. She's also a certified MBSR mindfulness practitioner with many persons of different background trained by her, offering meditation, coaching and consulting services in English, Czechoslovak or French languages to individuals and companies, optimizing individual and collective well-being and performances. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Roya Ravan-Baksh.
Thank you. Thank you all and welcome. We have 15 minutes to try live how the meditation can be simple and efficient for everybody, whatever the experience, whatever the history, whatever the state. It's one of the few things where you don't need any previous preparation to have an efficient tool for many, many benefits. Of course, if you have more practice, the more practice, you get better, like in many things. Practice is the key word, but you don't need to start to have the practice. You can start anytime, anywhere, in whatever age and condition you are, and you will always get the benefit right from the start. So because the time is short and the words are not so meaningful apart from your own experience, I invite you to first try by yourself, experience the meditation. The meditation I will be training with you is a meditation on the heart, the heartfulness meditation with yogic transmission, which makes it easier to meditate a bit longer, deeper, but you can do it on your own, of course, as well. Maybe for the beginners, for the meditation to be efficient, just few words before we try life, how it is in reality, is that please don't try not to think. Having thousands and thousands of thoughts coming in are biological, and it's not possible to stop thinking. So please don't try to stop your thoughts. Just let them come and go like you would be a witness, that you would see unwanted, unwelcome guests coming, but you always realize that they're there, and with no frustration, you just let them come in and you let them go, and you go back to what you do. This is the first thing. Please don't try to stop or block the thoughts, just let them come and go. The second basic rule is don't have any expectations. What would happen, not what I need. Just sit and trust the source of light that we all have in our hearts. It knows better, my higher self, the light, love, God, whatever you want to call it, that we all have. It knows best what is good for us. So we can meditate for many reasons: to have a better concentration, for spiritual reasons, to better performance, for health reasons, whatever it is. Just don't have any expectation. Just try to trust, feel, and surrender to the source of life that we all have. So no blocking thoughts, letting go, no expectations. And the third advice I would give to beginners is whenever you don't know what to do next, or whenever you think that the thoughts are just too strong to just let come and go back to your breath. Notice your breath, what's happening with my in-breath, what's happening with my out-breath, and then surf back with the help of your breath in the source of light in your heart. Okay, so with no much waiting, let's please start the meditation. I will guide you at the beginning, and then we will be sitting in silence, because this is the best time where everything magical, beneficial happening. And please don't believe me one single word, because nothing replaces your own experience. Please sit comfortably but alert. Comfortably so that your body does not put a blockage in your meditation, but alert because we are going to be working with our inner self, with the mind, in the same time as we surrender to the source of light. As we sit comfortably, I close softly my eyes and I put my attention on my breath. without trying to influence it. Just breathe naturally as it is now, whatever the speed. I just sit and breathe and don't do anything else. And it's okay. I'm allowed to. Stopping activities, thinking, doing, just sitting and breathing. It's okay. And by breathing in and out, I push everything I was doing, every people I was seeing, talking to behind the doors. Everything and everybody can wait. This short time I'm taking for myself to get connected to the source of light and love I have in my heart. And very quickly, I just scan my body while breathing in and out naturally to see if there is any tension and release. With every breath, any tension that I can have in my body, so that the meditation will be smooth and efficient. I breathe and I relax every part of my body. And nothing else now matters. If my head sends me thoughts or emotions, I just say, not now. Now I'm breathing and relaxing. Okay. One more breath. I release all the tension. And in few seconds, we are going to start the meditation on the heart, the heartfulness way, which is going directly to the source with yogic transmission, with the trainer. When we want to start the meditation, we open the heart with the subtle, loving suggestion that the source of light, source of love is in my heart. And I let myself get absorbed in that light that we all have in our heart. Whenever thought or emotion is coming, we just see them and let go and go back into the light. If it's too difficult, we just notice our breath. And then with the help of our breath, we surf back into the light in our heart. And that can happen many times. It's okay. Please start the meditation. The source of light is in my heart, and I get absorbed in it. It's okay. The thoughts come. Just let them come and go. And plunge back into the light in the heart. That's all. That was a short sample of how we can meditate on the heart. Anybody can attract the source of light and strength and love to reinforce, nourish what we already have in our heart. We have everything we need. We just need the way how to connect within and with the rest, because we are one. The relaxation before the meditation, especially for the beginners, are quite important in order to come to the present time, here and now, and be able to connect easier with the light in our heart. For those who are more experienced, because practice is all, they can get into the connections anytime, even with open eyes, and be in a so-called meditative state. It means in connection most of the time. I think the 15 minutes have ended, and I wish you all to be happy and well with a heart full of joy and connection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Royaji. Heartfulness meditation, I guess, is one of the most important types of meditation in our times.
Yes.
And as
Thank
you
you.
rightly said, that it opens the blockages within and opens heart for others.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you.
right, a true master, you mentioned the importance of relaxation before you enter into meditation if you
Yes.
are not regularly practicing it.
Yes, yes, to be present. My experience is that many don't want, especially in Western countries, to start the meditation because they are put off and discouraged by all the thoughts, all the pains, bodily, all the sensations. And just a simple thing can make it much easier.
What a wonderful way to end the program today with such a soulful meditation. Thank you very much.
Doctor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Roya Ravan Baksh for coming on to the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
This shloka means, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all diseases, may everyone see goodness and auspiciousness in everything, may none be unhappy or distressed. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. I am highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. I believe that this is not the end, but the beginning of our journeys. The journeys towards the noble cause of removing the 14 divides rooted in human race and promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence. Firstly, I thank the God for blessing us all. I thank European Yoga Federation, thank the Spiritual Council in Africa. I am also very thankful for Yoga Vidya, Germany, Yoga Lam, Russia, Siddhashram, Turkey, Nidra Consciousness, France, Yoga Yogismo, South America, AAYT, Australia, World Movement for Yoga and Ayurveda, Italy, CUIDY, Italy, the World Community of Indian Culture and Traditional Disciplines, Italy. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our speakers, Swami Suryananda Saraswati Ji, Dr. Syed Tanwir Nasreen, Dr. Anton Vizjak. I also thank our esteemed panelists, Mr. Pedro Pastor, Ms. Amrita Mandala, Dr. Stephen Linchav, Dr. Adrish Brahmadatta. I'm also very thankful to our yoga and meditation experts, Dr. Sukhdev Volkar, Brits, and Ms. Roya Ravan Bakshal. Also very thankful to our music and dance performers. I owe my heartfelt thanks to Team Project Surf USA, Shri Rajesh Rabindranath, Ms. Madhurika Arvind, Ms. Rashmi Kashi, Dr. Prasad Akavu, Dr. Vijay Reddy, Ms. Jeena Suresh, Mr. Karthik Palamalai, Mr. K.L. Alexander, Mr. Venkat Sriram Lalu, Ms. Deepthi Nair, Ms. Avneet Bad, Mr. Suresh, Mr. Devaraju, Ms. Deepa Arun. I thank Team Project Surf Bharat, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, Dr. Shweta Tomar, Aditi Meghna Mausan Prachi, Mr. J.S. Juneja, Dr. Paramji Juneja, Rishi Vishalji Arnav, Aditya Ashwin, Rati Dharmendra Ji, Uday, Pooja Ji, Bharti Ji, Dipti Ji, Amrish Ji, Mrinalini Ji, Khushbu Ji, Jimmy Ji, Mr. Sanjay Rajput, Ms. Simran Reel. I am also very grateful for our new members in the team of United Consciousness, Ms. Aishwarya, Ms. Priyanka and Mr. Prakash Tyagi. I am very much thankful to our wonderful audience and all the visible and invisible sources blessing us.